Neurotechnology, it's one of those fields that sounds like pure science fiction. On one hand, it promises to heal broken minds, to give people back abilities they've lost. But on the other hand, well, it opens up this fear that our very thoughts might not be our own anymore. Today, we're going to walk right on that razor's edge. So let's just chew on this for a second. What if the very same key that could unlock healing for the brain could also be used to lock someone inside of it? Today, we're diving deep into that exact duality. We're going to look at the incredible, documented science, but we're also going to hear the desperate pleas from people who believe they've been turned into unwilling test subjects. Okay, so first up, the mind-machine interface. Let's talk about the promise of neurotechnology. Before we get into the controversy, we have to ground ourselves in what's actually real, what the science can do. And believe me, brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, they're not science fiction anymore. They're here, and they're creating this direct link between our brains and the outside world. And really, the scope of what we're talking about here is just staggering. It's not just one little thing. We're talking about technology that gives people back things they thought were gone for good. Imagine being an amputee and being able to feel again, or helping someone with Parkinson's or even severe depression. The potential here to heal is it's immense, and it's growing literally every single day. Okay, check out this number, 62. 62 words per minute. What does that mean? Well, there was this incredible study where a BCI let a person who is paralyzed communicate just by thinking about the words they wanted to say, and they hit 62 words per minute. I mean, that's faster than a lot of people can type with their fingers. It's not just progress, it is an absolutely life-changing breakthrough. All right, but with all this incredible progress comes the other side of the coin. We have to talk about science versus pseudoscience. It is so important to draw a clear line between what's been proven, what's been validated, and, well, the wild, sometimes terrifying theories you see floating around out there. So let's break this down, because the difference here is everything. On one side, you have actual scientific BCIs. These need a physical connection, right? We're talking about an implant or at least electrodes on your scalp. And, crucially, you have to be a willing participant. But then you have this other set of claims, often called V2K or voice to skull. And these stories are about something totally different, remote, non-consensual influence, the idea that thoughts or voices can be beamed into your head from far away. Now, this is where things can get a little tricky, because sometimes a real scientific phenomenon gets, well, misinterpreted. Take the microwave auditory effect, or MAE. It's a real thing. It's been documented that pulsed microwaves can make someone hear clicks or buzzing sounds inside their head. But, and this is a huge but, hearing a click is a million miles away from having complex sentences or someone else's thoughts beamed into your brain. That's the leap that just isn't supported by the science. All right, now let's make this personal. We're going to look at the case of a man named Stefan Nicula. His story sits at this really terrifying crossroads of everything we've just talked about. We're looking at a prisoner's plea, and these details come directly from documents he has written himself. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. I am fighting for my life and my sanity. This is a direct plea from Stefan. According to his writings, he believes that back in May of 2022, a BCI-AI device was secretly implanted in his brain. He says it was all done under the false pretense of some kind of radio show, and that it was the beginning of an absolute ordeal of nonstop torture. So here's the timeline he lays out. He says this whole show was supposed to last for 20 months, with the supposed goal of changing his sexuality. But as you can see, January 2024 came and went. The 20 months were up, and he alleges the experiment didn't stop. In fact, he says it's only gotten worse, and that he's been told it will now go on until the day he dies. And he's been documenting all of this. He actually keeps a detailed daily calendar of what he's experiencing. And the things he alleges are, well, they're incredibly specific and just harrowing. We're talking about a constant, high-pitched noise, being forced to see graphic hallucinations, being kept awake with nightmares, feeling needle-like pains, even having his heart rate controlled. It's a description of a total assault on his body and his mind. So what do you do? Who do you turn to? This is maybe the most devastating part of his story. He documents his profound feeling of being completely alone. He says he's tried to get help from the police, both in the UK, where he says this started, and back in his home country of Romania. But he claims they won't even register his complaints, leaving him with absolutely no official way to ask for help. And Stefan's story, it just shines this giant, flashing spotlight on a terrifying problem, the governance gap. You see, it doesn't matter if the cause of his suffering is technological or psychological, he's falling into this void, a gap where our laws and ethics just haven't caught up with technology. It begs the question, right? As this tech races forward, who is writing the rules? Well, that's where this idea comes in. Neurorights. It's a new concept, and big international groups like UNESCO are pushing for it hard. The thinking is, we need a whole new set of human rights, ones that are specifically designed to protect the one place that has always been private, our own minds. Rights to things like mental privacy, your own identity, and your free will. And look, this isn't just some academic debate. This is a global call to action. UNESCO is telling governments, hey, you need to do something about this now. They're recommending concrete steps, like updating existing human rights laws and starting a global conversation to figure this stuff out. So where does all this leave us? Well, it leaves us staring at two really powerful, inescapable realities. Two inescapable realities. And on the surface, they seem like they can't both be true at the same time, but they are, and we have to pay attention to both. So here they are. On the one hand, you have the incredible proven promise of science, a BCI that helps a paralyzed person speak at 62 words per minute. That's real, that's happening. And on the other hand, you have the raw desperation of a human plea. I need a lawyer who won't call me crazy. That is also real. The suffering behind that statement is absolutely real, no matter what's causing it. And this, right here, this is such a critical point to understand. The societal fallout here is massive, no matter which way you look at it. Because whether we're dealing with a crisis of actual technological abuse or a mental health crisis that's being fed by fear and misinformation, the outcome can be the same. The belief that you're being targeted can be just as psychologically destructive as the real thing. So there are no easy answers here. The documents and the science we've looked at today don't give us a neat conclusion. All they do is show us this stark, incredible contrast between scientific progress and deep human suffering. And they leave us with this one massive question that we all have to think about. As we learn to unlock the human brain, who gets to hold the key?